The Hartwell Hotel had 13 floors. Sophie Grant knew that because she had counted the windows before checking in. Her keycard still said room 1413. Sophie wrote hotel reviews for a travel magazine, and errors were part of the job. Stained sheets, false photographs, rooms that vanished from booking sites after complaints. The Hartwell was different. It had operated in the same city building since 1908, and its polished lobby displayed brass keys from every renovation. None carried a number higher than 1318. The night clerk, Elias Vale, examined Sophie's card and forced a smile. "Printer fault. You're in 1313. Before Sophie reached the lift, a telephone began ringing behind the lobby's wood-paneled wall. Elias went pale. He did not answer it. Room 1313 was empty and recently cleaned. Sophie photographed the keycard for her notes, placed it beside the bed, and watched the printed number change on her phone screen. In the photograph it read 1313. On the card itself, the ink still read 1413. At 3:10 a.m., a lift bell woke her. Her room door stood open. Beyond it was not the 13th floor corridor but the inside of the lift. Its display showed 14, although the control panel stopped at 13. Sophie raised her phone and began recording. The doors closed before she touched anything. When they opened, she faced a narrow corridor papered in dark green. There were no windows, no fire signs, and only one door, 1413. A telephone rang behind it. Sophie pressed the lift button. Nothing happened. On her recording, however, the doors appeared to remain open. The video showed Sophie still standing inside the lift, staring into an empty corridor, while her real reflection waited beside room 1413. The telephone stopped. The door unlocked. Inside, luggage filled the room. Leather trunks, canvas suitcases, and plastic roller bags stood in careful rows, each tagged with a guest's name and a check-in date. The oldest tag was from 1912. The newest belonged to Martin Keene, a software salesman who had disappeared from the Hartwell 11 months earlier. Sophie remembered his photograph from the news. Police had concluded that he left through a service exit before dawn. His laptop sat open on the desk. Its battery icon showed a full charge. The room telephone rang again. Sophie answered without speaking. "Miss Grant," said a woman's voice. "Are you ready to confirm checkout?" "Who is this?" "You called us." Sophie hung up. The wallpaper brightened. Electric lamps became gas sconces. The plastic suitcases vanished, and rain struck a window where no window had been. A newspaper on the bed carried a date from 1926. "Are you ready to confirm checkout?" Sophie refused. The room changed again. In 1954, a radio played in the corner. In 1987, cigarette smoke hung beneath a mirrored ceiling. Each refusal moved her to another year, but the luggage remained. So did the door, locked from the inside. She stopped answering. Footsteps gathered in the corridor. Dozens of them approached, then halted beyond the door. Voices whispered through the wood. Some pleaded to be let in. Others repeated the same sentence in different languages. "I only wanted to leave." Sophie searched the luggage. Martin Keene's laptop contained one unfinished document. He had traced 31 missing guests, all of whom had made a life-changing decision on the day they vanished. One had resigned from her job. One had bought a one-way ticket. One had removed his wedding ring in the hotel bar. Martin's final line read, "The room cannot take you for wanting to leave. You have to tell it that you are checking out." Beneath the desk blotter, Sophie found the hotel's original guest ledger. Every missing name appeared on a separate page. Check-in dates were written in black ink. The checkout column remained blank. Her own name was already there. Sophie Grant. Checked in, 18th May 1992. She had been 4 years old on that date. A memory returned with impossible clarity. Her mother leading her through the Hartwell lobby after leaving Sophie's violent father. Rain on the glass. A telephone ringing behind the wall. Her mother kneeling and saying, "We're leaving our old life tonight." Then young Sophie had picked up the receiver. The woman's voice on the telephone was not a receptionist. It was Sophie herself, aged 4, asking whether they were ready to check out. The room had been waiting ever since. Sophie examined the ledger more closely. One former clerk had drawn a line through his own entry in 1973. Beside it he had written, "A hotel can route a call, but it cannot decide which desk answers." The telephone had no outside line button, only a brass dial. Sophie dialed 0. For several seconds she heard herself breathing from both ends. Then someone answered. "Hartwell reception. This is Elias." The room shuddered. The walls cycled through decades so quickly that plaster, wallpaper, and bare brick flickered around her. Sophie told Elias to look behind the wood paneling, where the lobby telephone rang. He hesitated, then tore open an access hatch. His voice became clearer. He had found an old switchboard cable, still connected to a socket that did not appear on any plan. "Stay on the line," he said. "There's a service door at the end of your corridor." There had been no end to the corridor before. Now a red exit lamp glowed beneath the door. Sophie carried the receiver as far as its cord allowed. Room 1413 stretched with her, the bed sliding backwards while the door remained just beyond reach. The waiting guests entered behind her. They wore clothes from different decades, but every face was Sophie's. Her mother's voice came from the telephone. "You don't have to keep running," it said. "Just tell him you're checking out." Elias shouted beneath it, "Don't answer the room. Answer me. Are you still a guest of the Hartwell?" Sophie understood. The room could only complete a checkout. It could not hold someone whose stay was cancelled before it began. She pulled the key card from her pocket. "No, the hotel gave me the wrong room. Cancel the reservation." Elias struck a key on the old switchboard. The card split down the middle. The service door opened. Sophie ran through as the telephone cord tore from the wall. She fell onto the lobby carpet at 3:17 a.m. Elias stood beside the exposed switchboard, holding the other receiver. Only 7 minutes had passed. Police searched every floor. They found no corridor, no luggage, and no socket behind the paneling. Martin Keene's laptop was gone. Sophie's video showed her standing motionless inside the lift for 7 minutes, while the floor display remained blank. But the broken keycard stayed in her pocket. One half read 13, the other read 14. Sophie resigned from the magazine and never entered the Hartwell again. Months later, an editor discovered a scheduled review under her name. It described room 1413 in exact detail, including the ledger and the service door. Facts Sophie had told no one. The review carried a publication date of 18 May 1974, 14 years before Sophie was born. At the bottom was a reservation link. It still works.